I'm not familiar with this. This is my first time ever on this app or ever going live on it. So I'm kind of shy, but at the same time, I'm trying to, have a nice dialogue, nice conversation about time not existing, and like I said, it doesn't exist. So you never get older. There's no birthdays. There's no yesterdays, no tomorrows, no night, no day, no holiday. I know y'all got to be saying, I'm crazy. How can it not be? How can it not be no tomorrow, today? No, I'm not crazy. It's just, see what they do with it's just one ongoing life, right? And what man have learned to do is use certain things in certain ways and certain technicians, whatever, to identify certain things, right? To make it easier, for people to identify certain things. That's all it is, because in order for it to be a birthday, a yesterday, or today, or tonight, or tomorrow, or any of them days that they're trying to make you that exist, that may have to be some period. If time does exist, man, that means that it will have to stop, right? And start back. In order for these things to exist. And I'm telling you, because it don't exist, it's never stopped, because it's never exists. Anything, like energy is anything that's motion and anything that's moving, right? So that's like what life is. And what that means, it's like saying life is ongoing, right? And and so you constantly evolving, right? So other words, I'm saying that you might look like yourself if you look in the mirror, but whether you believe it or not, you changing every second. Nothing stays the same that's in motion, right? So I'm saying, and that's just life, you know what I mean? So life, it never stops, it never ends, it's always ongoing, right? And see, so they take that, right? And they use time to make you believe it exists when it doesn't, right? So it's no pauses between life. It's no in-betweens. It's just one ongoing scene. You know what I mean? And it's just eternity, right? So therefore, time doesn't exist. So it has no beginning. Therefore, it can never have no ending, right? And so you kind of like get it confused, because you feel like, well, how can I be young? One minute I'm a baby, then the next minute I'm walking, I'm crawling, I'm grown, I got kids, whatever the case is. You probably look at it like that, but you're not looking at it, that all that is part of evolution, which means that, nothing stays the same, and you always in motion, right? And you always changing, right? So you might think that's time that's doing it, but I'm telling you that it's not. It has nothing to do with time, right? Because time doesn't exist. You understand what I'm saying to you? That's just the way life is. You're going to constantly evolve regardless. You know what I mean? Even when it comes to the point where you leave this body, you still going to live and evolve to something else, because energy was never created, can never be destroyed. So man, it's just ongoing. You understand what I'm saying? It's no in-betweens. It's no period. It's no pause, right? And so that's why time can never exist. Because in order for it to exist, in order for it to be tomorrow, in order to be a day, in order it can be a birthday, and a yesterday, and a future, and the past, that means it had to have pauses, right? And there's no pauses in life. Life is ongoing, and it can't be no pauses in time. So time can't exist and yet not have no pause. You understand what I'm saying? So that's another reason why time can never exist. You know what I mean? So if anybody want to challenge me on that, and they believe different, or they can show different, Tune in, and let's have this conversation. You know what I mean? Tune in. How you doing? And let's have this conversation. I mean, let's think how deep that is, right? So that means that you never get old, right? You never get old. Ever. Because age don't exist, right? Now, like I said, they make you think time exists, and they make you think age exists, and they make you think days and nights and all that exists by using time, right? To identify certain situations, certain events, right? And certain functions, during the life cycle, right? By being in this universe and being in this body, right? It make it easier for, us to communicate and understand each other, you know what I mean? But in reality, it doesn't exist at all. It never did exist. So even though, we might start off, as an inference, as a seed, or as a germ, as a sperm, as an egg, or whatever, and we might develop into whatever we are now, or whatever we become, we still don't get older. We still don't have a birthday. It's time still don't exist. Only thing that's called evolution. That means, we just constantly evolving, right? Because everything that's in motion, that's energy, right? It's in movement, right? It never stays the same. So it's always changing. Always. Even if you can't see it. If you look in the mirror right now today, and you probably tell yourself you look the same, but you don't. You might can't see the change in yourself, but you don't look the same that you did a minute ago, because you always changing, right? It might take you, a certain, lady to realize, I just noticed right here I got hair, or I got a wrinkle, or I got whatever it is, but you always changing, because that's evolution. That's how life is. But changing, right? And being part of evolution and being part of life, right, don't have nothing to do with time, because it doesn't exist. The point I'm trying to make is you're going to change regardless you in this body or not. You always changing. You might look at a car, right, and you might say, well, a car can never change, or a house or nothing might never change because of the material something made from, right? So it's going to always remain the same. So, but in reality, that's not true. Because even a car or a house or concrete or whatever it is, it's still changing. There's nothing that exists in the universe that doesn't change. It's always changing. You probably can't see the change. You probably don't know the change, but it's always changing. It has nothing to do with time, because time is an illusion. It don't exist. It had to do with nature, the universe, evolution. That's the way it always was before we got here in this body. It ain't like we got here and then it just started, changing, because they got what they call direct order. What they mean, like, most science believe that, the universe and most things like Father Time, certain events like the universe and, the sun, the moon and stuff like that, mean that they got a direct order where whatever they job is, whatever was made for, whatever their purpose is, science believe that that's all that they made to do. So they gonna do what they designed to do, right? Other words, like your heart. Your heart is made to pump blood, oxygen, blood to, through your veins, right? So your heart, that's what it made to do, and that's what it's gonna do with your permission or without it, right? And there's nothing you can do to change that, right? And that's how evolution is, right? It's always changing. You know what I mean? So nothing stays the same. Anything that doesn't change or doesn't move is not moving, is dead, right? But energy never dies. It's never created. It never can be destroyed. So it's always in motion. It's always moving. Now, whether you see it, it don't change the facts. It's just the way it goes, right? So with that said is all we doing, right, is changing within evolution, right? All we doing is changing because that's the way the body was made, through energy, through the universe. That's the way it was designed, right? To constantly change, continuously, non-stop. You know what I mean? It don't stop at all. Ain't no pause between. It don't stop and then start back. It's just ongoing. You know what I mean? So that's how that go.